just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, ChristopherBlodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday. This week's topic. Sometimes the best answer you can come up with is meh. Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Some of you might be wondering about that topic, but for those of you, who've been with me since the beginning, you guys know that when I come up with when I put out a Real Talk Tuesday episode, usually it's the topic could be anything from, based on what I might be inspired about that week. Some weeks might be really important subjects, or really important subject rather. Other weeks might be something personal related. Try to come up with something good for you, give you some good content, whatever, have a good conversation with you and stuff. But as you guys know from the previous episodes, my grandson officially left 2 weeks ago. He's with his dad and his stepmom and his grandparents on his dad's side in Nashville. I think for another 4 weeks after this week, so because he goes down there apparently for 6 weeks. But he's not coming back here because a week after he left, his mama, her boyfriend from Georgia came up. Boyfriend / future husband, who knows? They've been together for a couple years, and they're pretty serious. But so he found him a place down there in Georgia because, of course, we're under the impression that he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave his parents. He wants to stay near his parents. So our daughter, even though when we moved up here, she and my wife had kind of had a little discussion or whatever. My wife had mentioned, because of your son, it might be a good idea. And I know you want to go to Georgia, but it might be a good idea to give it a couple years, let Alex be, be in a stable environment and stuff, not uproot him again, and maybe you and Logan find a place up here. And at the time when we moved up here, my daughter, made it seem like she agreed with her. Yeah, it makes sense. It totally makes sense. We don't want to uproot him. Want him to have a stable life, whatever. But then we're up here for 6 months, and a little bit over 6 months probably, and then we started hearing, I had to hear it from my wife. My daughter didn't even say anything to me initially. My wife had said something they're moving to, she's moving, her and Alex moving to Georgia to be in Logan. I'm like, what? Cause I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, I hadn't heard shit, so I don't know. So I had gone down and chatted with her. Oh, okay, I heard the news. So you planning to leave after Alex gets out of school? She said, yeah, pretty much. Okay. I was like, well, you know how it is. We don't want you to go, but we just want to be a part of your life. So whatever we can do to help, just do what you gotta do, and just know that we're here for you, obviously. She goes, yeah, I know. So I was like, all right. You know, holding back, of course, because, like, obviously, like, really didn't want them to go. Especially Salix, you know, like, obviously I don't want my daughter to leave, but she's the one making the decision. But, you know, it's always the harder part is always, like, the little kid, you know, the grandkid, you know. It's hard when the kids decide to leave too, but, you know, he's, you know, we obviously, like, I missed so much time with my kids growing up because of me being over the road, that I've been off the road since it was like 2019, but and I tried my best to not miss any more important events or whatever. But then Allie left back in 2023 or 2022, something like that, when I think Salix was like 3, and you know, was gone for like 2 years, and we were not speaking. Like, the way she left, she was pissed at us about, I don't even know anymore. But me and my wife, we, you know, admittedly, I guess we were overstepping because we were trying to help her out. Like, or that's what we thought we were trying to do. You know, we were trying to, like, step in and be like, hey, let us help you out with Salix, whatever. And she was like, I got it, blah blah blah. We're okay. You know, she thought that we were implying that she wasn't a good mom. We're like, no, that's not it at all. We just know that you're a single mom, and we know that that's really tough. And we're here, we're offering our help. Like, if you don't want it, that's fine, but, you know. So basically for that 2 years, and if anybody who's new to the show, hold on one second. Ooh, all right. I just had to pause the recording really quick because I was like, oh crap, sneeze coming on. So I know I don't have to apologize for that because you guys probably, you know, for you just sounds like a brief half-second pause or whatever. But apologies. I was like, I knew it was inevitable. I was like, oh crap, here it comes. Oh snap! One of those two, like, when you sneeze, you're like, burn! Oh my god. Ooh, gasket. So, but the way she left, you know, we basically were like, let us know if you need anything. Like, I was like, take care of your baby boy. She's like, I will. And then she left, and she totally cut us off. Like, wouldn't communicate with my wife at all. Like, I wasn't trying to message her at all because I was pissed, you know, because of the way she left and how we felt, you know, because one day everything seemed fine, and the next day she's leaving, and we were hanging out with the grandkiddo when she's packing up her room and loading up a pickup truck with her older sibling, that, you know, older sibling from another dad. So when she was packing up her room, and we were playing with Salix in our room, like laying on our bed, he was flopping, you know, like, whoa, and just like body, like face planting under the mattress. And of course, me and my wife, we're playing with him. They're like, you know, we're like, baby boy, like, you're not gonna see us or auntie for a while. You know, you're moving out with Uncle Eli and Mama, and, you know, like, we'll see you sometime. Of course, he's 3, so he's like, okay. And then they left, and I remember, I mean, it's one of those moments in life. There's a few of them, like a handful of moments in my life, things that have happened that I literally can still see as if it happened yesterday. Like, it's stuck. I can still replay it in my mind exactly how it happened. Like the last night with my ex-wife. Again, shout out to Lori. But like, I doubt she listens to the show, but I'll be really surprised if all of a sudden I randomly get like a message online or a call or something. I don't know how she get my number in the first place, but if I get a random call or an email or a message on Facebook or something from her, basically, oh, I heard you mention me on your show. I'll be, oh shit, you do listen to the show. Oh wow. Whoa, shit. All right. Hey, it's been 20 years. What's up? No. What Hubbard? What like, you know? Because last I heard she's you know, currently married. So who knows? But last night with her, before when I left initially to go move in with my parents, and to get in shape to join the military back in like, shit, it was probably like May or something of 2006, possibly, I think. Yeah, something like that. You know, because I was at my parents' house for probably like 2 or 3 months before I went to basic training. Maybe earlier than that. Maybe I was there longer. Just, you know, so it's probably like, yeah, it's probably like March or April or something. I was there for a couple months. I lost about 20 or 30 pounds and got into where I was actually weight-wise qualified to actually go in. So then we started scheduling all the testing and stuff. But the last night before I left, and that was one of the things too. When I this is what they do if she ever comes across the show. Maybe she'll hear this, you know. But when I left, you know, when I actually decided I was gonna leave and do that, a lot of stuff happened that previous week before I up and left that kind of led me to decide that. Things just weren't working out in that marriage, and I remember that week, I think we were supposed to go to see my brother get married to his to his now second ex-wife, Nikki, and because we were in Cut-Bank, Montana, of course. My brother and my ex-sister-in-law were in Seattle, I believe. So they, you know, it had been planned for a year, and then like literally the night before we were supposed to drive, it was like a 400-mile drive, so it was like 7 or 8 hours. It wasn't too bad, but the night before we were supposed to go there, my now ex-wife was like, you know, sobbing and like, I don't want to go. Please don't make me go. And I'm like, what? I was like, it's been planned for a year. Like, you want me to go by myself? Your family hates me. I don't want to go. I'm like, fine, all right. So that was kind of starting the tipping point, but not the tipping point. And then went to you know, I basically stayed with my brother that has me kind of disowned for the past, like, I don't know, 10 years. Haven't had anything to do with him for like 10 or 15 years. He just, I don't know, you know, because of something that happened between my parents within the past 15 years that me and my parents have actually made peace with, but my brother is pissed at me about that. I'm like, it doesn't even have anything to do with you. Like, that doesn't, like, why are you, all right, whatever, you know, it's your choice, you know, but I didn't kick you to the curb, you kicked me to the curb. But I was staying with him and his I don't remember actually. I think I was staying with him and his you know, Nikki, the lady who's married. I think they were living together at the time. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I stayed with them at that point though. And then of course, like, the whole family was there. Like, my uncle, my mom's side was there. And so when we're there for the wedding, which is funny, is I don't remember the wedding at all. I remember that trip. I remember hanging out. I remember having that long military conversation with my uncle, because he's, at the time, I think he was like a lieutenant colonel in the Army. And so I was asking military questions, because even though I'd been anti-joining the military before that, I was just like, I don't want to join the military. Just like, I don't want to, you know, my dad would always be like, you should go work at McDonald's. I don't want to work at McDonald's, Dad. Fuck that. But I started thinking about the military, thinking, well, I'm not in a very good place up here with my wife. I need to obviously make things better, you know. So I started asking him, like, hey, like, what's the GI Bill about? You know, like, you know, you get housing on base if you're enlisted or whatever, blah blah blah. And he was like, answer all the questions. He goes, yeah, I mean, it would honestly be really good for you. You know, like, really, it's a stable job, you know, and you get taken care of, you get health care, you get housing, whatever. I'm like, okay, you know. Hadn't decided at that point to do it. I was just basically getting information, was thinking, I was contemplating it. And so, you know, we go to the wedding, I drive back home, I get home late. I think it was a Friday night when I got home, actually. The wedding was like in the middle of the week, I think. I got home Friday night, and we were living with some friends. I get home, and of course, like, I come in the house, and complete darkness, no one's home. And it's late, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm going, where the fuck is everybody? So I'm texting the wife, like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, where you guys at? Didn't get a response for a minute. And then, like, the next morning, I get a message, hey, yeah, me and Amber and Dan and, like, a bunch of friends, we went to Billings or something to, they were going to go on a camping trip or go on a getaway, a little party for the weekend, and, they invited me along, so I went with them. I'm like, okay. So, you didn't want to go with me to something that we had planned for a year as a married couple, but then when I'm gone to that, then you go on a trip with friends. I was like, okay. And so I was basically like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. So then, like, she was still gone for another couple days. Like, they were coming home on Sunday, so I was home alone for those 2 days, and I was like messaging my dad, going, hey Dad, I need help. And he's like, what's going on? And I was like, I want to make a change. Like, I want to do something to better my life. Like, I'm even considering joining the Air Force. I was like, but I'm kind of stuck where I'm at. I don't have the financial means to go anywhere. I don't know what to do. And he was like, well, what about coming over here and moving in with us for a couple months to get in shape? So you can qualify to go in. And I was like, I'm willing to do that, but how would I get out there? He's like, I'll drop a gas card for Conoco or something, or Sinclair, or one of those gas station chains that you can get a gas card for. He goes, I'll drop a gas card in the mail, and I'll overnight it to you, and I'll also print off MapQuest directions from where you are there to here, and I was like, okay. And then he goes, yeah, and I'll even because it was easily like probably 1,500, 2,000 miles probably. So it was going to take me probably at least 2.5 days to get there, doing like 500 or 600, 700 miles, like 500-mile trips. So it was like 2 nights, and then I would get there on the third night. He's like, I'll book you a hotel along that route, like 2 different hotels, so that you could stop there with, because I had my dachshund with me at the time. And, we'll plan to like 500 miles, and then your third night you'll get here. I'm okay. So we did that. So I took off with my dog, and he sent money for food, or sent me a credit card or something. Because use that card only for food, for snacks, whatever for the road, whatever you need or whatever. Don't buy random stuff like merchandise and stuff like that. Okay, don't worry. I was like, I'm just happy to have a hotel and food, and I'll have stuff for the dog, obviously, but So he overnighted that card, and then my wife came back home Sunday night and saw me packing a few things up. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm leaving. She's like, no, you're not. Like, what do you mean you're leaving? I was like, love, I can't do this anymore. Like, I was like, this isn't working for us. Like, we need to make a change. So I'm gonna go move in with my parents, get in shape, and I'm gonna join the military so I can try to at least see what I can do to get our lives back on track. She's like, you're not joining the military. I'm like, watch me. I was like, what are you gonna do? Like, you can't stop me. So we had about that night plus the one night before I was gonna be heading out. And so the night before I was heading out, I remember we had let's just say it was a very because I guess she decided to have a good send off. So we had a very passionate, intimate night, and literally to this day, I'm like, can't get that. No matter how many experiences I have, especially with my marriage right now, which things are great with my wife, but I still, that last night or whatever, it's like burned into my memory. It's like, oh my god. But there are other things about her that basically I've never been able to forget or whatever. But so that's one thing I have that's an instance in my life that's still there. Had an instance with my dad, where we Not really anything big anymore, because I know that it was when I was young. Had a little instance where I kind of got punished. You know, you could say kind of got swatted to the point where I still remember that one instance. You know, because I basically got detention, and my dad, you know, had a little bit of a backhand or whatever. But it's funny, I randomly brought up to mention to my dad or whatever. He's like, I've never hit you. I was like, yeah, you did. I was like, you didn't do it a lot, but there was one occasion where I came home and you got pissed because I had, which is understandable, I had a bad teacher. They had a school that was really fucked up back then. I was in a Catholic school and I was fourth grader. They combined fourth grade and seventh grade, and so fourth graders were getting seventh grade work. So as you can understand, I'm an average student. Probably better now as I'm older, but back then I was definitely, you know, struggled a little bit. But I had a teacher that hated my guts. Like, I would cough and get detention. I would drop a pen on the floor by accident, like knock it off my desk by accident, get detention. Detention is basically, guess what? You get to come up to the school 4 in the morning, and you know, 'cause school started at like 7. So you're spending hours, like a couple hours, like cleaning the bathrooms, taking trashes out, scrubbing stuff, and then 6 o'clock till 7, you're crossing guard as people were coming into the school. So you're, you know, helping people cross the parking lot into the school. And it's like not hard, but it meant that my dad was having to drop me off at 4 in the morning, which he was not happy about, and it happened 3 times in a row the same week. Like one day I coughed, and she basically just yelled, looked at me and pointed and said detention. I was like, well, and then because I questioned when she said detention, but I didn't. She was detention tomorrow too. Oh, yes, ma'am. So 2 nights in a row, my dad was already pissed about that. And then, what'd you do? I didn't do anything, Dad. I swear. She would give you detention 2 nights in a row if you didn't do anything. Like, I mean, you don't know this teacher, Dad. And then I had one night where I was fine, where I, you know, didn't get detention, and then like you know, pen fell on the floor or something, so I bumped it off, and I got detention again. So came back home and basically was like, I was scared shitless, was doing the whole like slink into my dad's room or wherever he was. I don't even remember where I told him, but and then they're like, Dad, oh, he's like, what happened? I was like, I got detention again. I don't remember, because all I remember is like he closed the gap between he and I pretty quick, and I don't remember the slap. I just remember he crossed the gap, and next thing I know, I was on the floor. And then he picked me up off the floor and apologized. I'm sorry. Gave me a hug. Was like, I just need this. Like, Christopher, you need to. I'm like, I know. And I'm not doing it on purpose. I was like, Dad, this teacher hates me. Like, and it was like another couple weeks later, and then they had a big thing happen, and they pulled me out of the school anyway. But it was like, you know, he overreacted, which, you know, what happens as a parent, you know, because I've done it with my kids too. That's why I have a thing with lately. And my youngest, oh my God, like, she and I can talk pretty good when we're actually talking. Like, if we're talking, like, if I go into her room and we're chatting about something, or she's in the game room or something, I'll be in there. We'll be chatting or whatever, or in the car or going somewhere, you know. But she will throw down pretty good if you come after her, or like you're attacking her in a text message. Like, all of a sudden, you know, she'll be yelling at you in text, and I'll be yelling back at her in text, and I'll be saying, like, fucking this, whatever. So, I will not be fucking swearing at, blah blah blah. Like, you're fucking swearing at me. But then I go into her room like, Zoe, what's going on? like, why are you so upset? Like, what happened? And she said, this such. Like, okay, well, I apologize about my side of it. I didn't mean to come off like that. You know, she's like, I know, I'm sorry too. I'm like, so, like, what can we do to resolve this? Like, I don't want us to be pissed at each other. And she's like, well, I just, you know, I'm like, okay, you work it out. But I told my kids, I said, ever since I had that blow up with them because of the dishes or something, you know, like, I can't, you know, because when I get home, I don't, like, if the sink is full or the kitchen's a mess or something, most mornings, because I don't get enough sleep as it is, I'm not gonna clean the kitchen. If it's gonna take me 45 minutes to an hour because I got like 100 dishes I gotta do or whatever, because dishes got brought up from downstairs when Allie and Alex were hanging out down there. Now it's like it's like between me, Zoe, and my wife. Basically the sink has been mostly clear the whole week. You know, wife's done dishes a couple times, like a couple dishes here, a couple dishes there, and then I did them the other day. Went ahead and didn't even because there was only a handful of them, so I didn't even put them in the dishwasher. Just did the whole soap down the scrubby and scalding hot water and scrub the silverware dishes and stuff that are in there, and scrub the pots and pans or whatever that were used for dinner. Basically, it's good, But I came home one morning and there's a whole bunch of dishes, and I, of course, being that I was dead as tired, that doesn't make the emotional part easier. Like I'm already dealing with shit and I'm already stressed out. Being tired only amplifies it. So I went off in the chat. Basically, was like, guys, you guys should really try to rinse off your dishes before you don't just put them up here. Blah blah blah. Well, then Zoe, of course, went off at me in the chat and started bickering back and forth, like all cap, yelling at each other. And finally, I was like, I'm coming in there. Because I was in my room laying in bed, and she was in her room, and we're screaming at each other in text. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to come in your room. I'll be right in there. So then we're talking, and we're actually talking in a normal pitch, and we're I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off at you guys in the chat. I apologize. I was like, what's wrong? She's like, I just, I feel like, listen, I hear you, okay, So now, I told my kids, I'm like, I already have a lot of emotional baggage I carry anyway, and then, then I'm also always sleep deprived, so I'm always dead as tired, so that just makes it worse. So I was like, I basically told them, I said, you know what, I'm not gonna instinctively say something in the chat, if there's something like there's a bunch of dishes or whatever. I was like, I'm gonna just, if I can, I'll try to clean them. Otherwise, I said, I'm just gonna leave them. I'm not gonna worry about them. And if I can do them later, I'll do them later. But otherwise, I'll leave them. Someone will probably get to them, or they'll just keep accumulating. But I basically was like, I don't have the time to do a massive kitchen clean. When I get home, I have to literally eat really quick and go to bed. So I was like, and I don't want to end up in a massive fight with you guys because I love you guys, and I don't like that stress. So I'm just gonna, if I basically play like, I think about, okay, how do I feel right now? Like, can I have a conversation and have it be a simple conversation, or is it gonna get pretty fiery because everybody's tired, everybody's stressed? And most of the time, it's hey, we're all tired, we're all stressed, especially like me, barely getting enough sleep, always overwhelmed, definitely burned out, need that break again, So I'm like, you know what? It's a lot better idea if I just keep my mouth shut and I wait. So, it's like a similar situation that I've kind of started trying to do too. Is like the way I feel most of the time out here with how tired I am. It's difficult for me to try to. Sometimes it's how it is. It's hard for you to think like, all right, I got to make this decision, but I don't know what to do. And like one case, like because Aaron recently got into a different job. Fingers crossed with this one. This job actually, she's not commuting. So she's not commuting an hour to go to work and an hour home. She's not having to deal with like a huge rush all the time. And so it's literally like 2 miles away from her house. So she gets to work really quick. She gets home really quick. So, but she hasn't gotten a paycheck yet from it. She started like last week. Man, I got that tickle in my nose, like I'm gonna sneeze again. Alrighty, just pause again because I was like, as soon as I said that, I was like, oh, here it comes. But so it's been a minute, like a month or a month and a half since she last got a check. So like her car payment is every 2 weeks, and so the lender that deals with her car note, I've been paying that, and of course, like they they were like, you know, they work with me or whatever. Like, yeah, technically I paid you last week, and I was like, really? I thought I paid last week, and you know, we said you're gonna give it 2 weeks. It was no, your last payment was such and such. I looked at the calendar and went, oh shit, you're right. I was like, crap, the days blew together, so it had been 2 weeks. It only felt like it had been 1 week for me. I said, well, shit, I thought I paid last week, and I thought I was gonna pay next week. But I was like, all right, so. Yeah, so can we figure this out, please? Blah, blah, blah. I just need to work with you, Christopher. And I was like, it was Saturday, and so I was gonna be off the next day after getting home. And I literally, because I stopped to think about it, I was like, you know, exhausted, dead ass tired, getting ready to start my shift, and getting ready. I was literally picking up my load out here in Lenexa. And I messaged back. I was like, can you give me till the end of the day tomorrow? I was like, I'm off after I get home in the morning. I'm off till Monday. I was like, I'm so exhausted, I can't think straight right now. I said, I can't. I'm literally not able to make a decision. I don't think it's a good idea for me to try to make a decision right now. You know, can you give me till tomorrow? He goes, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you for working with me, Christopher. I'm like, no, thank you for working with me. I really appreciate you guys. Like, you know, they tried to get upset at one point because like they tried to call about the payment at like noon. And then, of course, the message like, Christopher, like, this is why to avoid this kind of situation, this is why I really need you guys to answer when we call. And I'm like, I understand and I hear you. I was like, but you guys need to understand, I work nights. So, like, if you guys call me at noon, I was like, I'm asleep. Like, I'm not going to answer the call. I was like, that's why when I wake up, always fun when you got a car that's taking an exit and they slow down to like 30 miles an hour before taking the exit. I'm like, dude, you don't need to slow down that slow to go out. It's like a gradual. You just veer off. It's not like like a sharp exit or something. So, but I was like, you know, so that's why when I wake up at like 3 or 4, getting ready to go to work, first thing I do, get on my phone, scroll through all the like what missed calls I see if I have any voicemails, look at the text messages that came through, go into my email and scroll through that, see if anything important. And then after that, I'm like, all right, I think I caught up. But if I scroll through my messages and I see that I got a message from her lender, I'll usually text back, hey, we'll get a payment in, you know, especially if they're messaging me like Wednesday. I'll be like, well, paychecks in on Friday, by Friday, so we'll pay it when we get paid or whatever. Like, okay, cool. I think we'll notate that in your account. I'm like, all right. I said that's why I text you like 4 in the afternoon, because I literally just wake up and I immediately am trying to catch up on everything. Like, okay, cool. Oh, cool, Christopher. Thank you so much for, you know, we appreciate you communicating with us, you know. And I was like, and I appreciate you guys working with us, you know. That's why I try to do my best. Like, hey, I can pay you on this date, or hey, I'll pay, you know. Like, I know we owe like 2 payments of $250. I was like, can I pay you one? And they're like, yeah, then we could push the other one out 2 weeks or whatever. Like, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. And still keep it, you know, listing as on time and not like late or whatever on the credit bureau. So it's like, yep, fun times. So, but yeah, it's like I told the wife after that. I was like, you know, lately sometimes we'll ask for more time, or try to not make a decision right away, depending on what it is, based on how I feel. Because I was like, sometimes I just literally can't focus. I'm like, I'll know what I want to do, and I'll know what you know, the creditor or bill or whatever might want us to do, but I'm thinking, you know, then I can't bring myself to do it while I'm out here doing my schedule. And it's like, it's a lot easier when I get off on Sunday for me to be like, hey, I'm not working right now. I could actually go, okay, this needs to be taken care of. I need to get this. I need to do that. I need to send this bill off. I need to do that. Because I'm not out here going, okay, I'm trying to work. I'm trying to do this, try to do that. It's like my wife's, it's kind of funny because literally, if she's driving, like when she's commuting to work before she got this current job, like she'll text me while I'm out here working. But if I text her, you know, let's say she's on her way to work or something, she'll immediately send a message back. Can't text. I'm driving. I'm like, okay, but you'll call me while I'm on the road and want me to figure something out. Hey, you check such and such and see if such and such hit, or can you message so and so? I'm like, I'm kind of driving. I know. I'm like, okay. So you want me to do it while I'm driving? I was like, I can do it when I get parked. So I was like, you're fine with me trying to do that while I'm out here on the move, but like while I'm driving, I can't do it. Okay, well, if you can, then why do you expect me to? So, then of course I think I got my youngest texting me right now. I was like, I'll get to you in a second when I'm done recording this. So yeah, there's the situation with the ex-wife that can't forget. And then of course the situation that happened with my daughter, when she left with Alex. Never was able to forget that day. Like, that day is ingrained in there because literally every single thing that happened, from sitting on the couch enjoying my drinks, because I'm off Sunday, Monday, and so sitting on the couch enjoying my drinks, just kind of chilling out, and of course Allie kept coming downstairs carrying stuff out. Of course I'm like, hey, what are you doing? She'll just taking trash. I'm like, okay. But then she kept coming back down like 5 or 6 more times, and by that point I'm like, something going on here. So I went outside after she went outside, and of course I went out to the steps out front, and I saw her taking stuff down to a pickup truck, and I saw her older sibling Eli standing out beside the truck. And I was like, I didn't know Eli was coming in town. Like, that's weird, because Eli lived with us for a little bit, and then basically up and decided to move back to Kansas, even though we thought things were going pretty good. It was stressful, with all of us, because we didn't have room for them in our little apartment, but they were staying on the couch and living with us, and we were making it work. But we were also asking for them because it was Allie and Eli were, I guess they were talking together about how it was like not cool that me and my wife were, expecting the 2 grown adults in our house to actually contribute to the house as well, like help out with keeping the house clean and contribute to some like the main bills if they're like, and the groceries since they're eating there too. But how dare we, So Eli convinced Allie that we were taking advantage of her or whatever, and convinced her that, you should come move in with me up here. So I didn't know this until later on, but all I knew was that Eli was back in town. It's like, okay. So I went in and I woke my wife up. She was taking a nap. I was like, hey, Eli's outside. She goes, what? And so we walked out there, because my wife thought maybe Eli forgot some things when they were there. So my wife grabbed like a blanket and some other stuff, and we're walking out there to the truck, and like, basically like, hey guys, how you doing? Like, what's going on? And of course that's when Allie kind of came over. She was like, well, so I'm leaving. And we're like, what are you talking about? She goes, me and Alex, we're moving out we're gonna move in with Eli. And we're like, what? Like, what? Huh? What's going on? And yeah, well, like, things start working out. Like, I'm upset about such and such, and like, I'm gonna move in with Eli. And like, and I made a comment like, Allie, you can't take her grandson away from us, or you can't take Alex. And she's like, actually, Dad, I can, because he's my son. I was like, no, I understand that. I'm not saying that legally, obviously, you can take him. But I'm saying you can't take him away from us. Like, we, like, not saying generally you can't, just saying you can't, as in, we don't want to lose you guys. Like, don't take him, please don't take him. But she's like, no, I can't. I mean, we're leaving, blah, blah, blah. Like, so we basically were like trying to talk to her, like what's going on? Like, why are you doing this? And she wouldn't talk to us. She was packing stuff in her room. So when she finally left, me, my wife, and our youngest, we went back inside. My wife was sitting on the couch, burying her head in her hands, sobbing, and I was pacing back and forth, sobbing, trying to catch my breath because my chest hurt. My younger daughter sitting on the couch watching both of us, and later on, because it was rough. So for like months, could not, like, he had a lot of like sippy cups and toys and stuff of the grandkiddos that were laying around the apartment, and it came to a point where we literally rounded up all that stuff and put it in her old room and closed the door because we were struggling just seeing that stuff around the house, around the apartment or whatever. My younger daughter, she basically told us later, I was worried I was gonna have to call 911 because I thought you and mom were gonna have a heart attack. I was like, I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. Like my chest was so tight, I was so much pain, more than I've ever felt in my life. And I was like, I know looking back then, there was like, I had lost a lot of weight before that situation happened. I'd gone from like 350 down to like 320. And then within 6 months of that, because I went basically like I was broken. I could not function. I could not, so I was basically probably drinking every day. I would have, because I would get back home from work at like 11 p.m., midnight, whatever. I'd have to go back to work till like 2. And so I would grab a couple beers before going to bed, watching Netflix, whatever, for an hour or two, whatever, and grab 2 or 3 beers, have a shot of Fireball, whatever. Was not really care. When I dug into the sweets, I was like comfort food eating, like I didn't care, 6 or 8 months down the line, and I went from like 320 to like 365, 370, and I was having those medical issues that I was like, really, it started dawning on me that I was like, if I don't get this under control, I'm gonna die. And I was like, well, I want to be around, hopefully, for someday, if even if it's when the grandkiddo grows up, if he reaches out to us, tries to reconnect with us because he hadn't seen Nana or Papa for 12 years or something, he'll be like growing up and be like, I never saw you guys, why not? Because your mama cut us off, like she didn't want us to have anything to do with you. So I started thinking about like I have to get this under control if I want to make sure that I'm around long enough to reconnect with him. So I started trying to, make better eating choices, less sugar, and just try to. Probably around the time I actually got diagnosed with diabetes too, because I was up at that really high weight, and they're like, "Yeah, you need to get this under control because you're looking at like you're probably not going to be around too long if you don't." Like I don't. So, but that's another one of those occasions that literally is ingrained in my memory. Just like when the 2 years went by and we got a call from Aaron's mom out here. She was out here near where my oldest was living with Eli, and I guess shit hit the fan and they had it fallen out. So Allie and Salix were at my mother-in-law's house and was refusing to reach out to us out of fear. And so my mother-in-law called my wife and basically said, I booked you a plane ticket up here. I'm bringing you up here. You need to talk to Allie. Like, she's in this situation, blah, blah, blah. And Aaron was like, oh, okay. Sure, let me know let me know my flight information and I'll see you tonight. And so her and my daughter connected again. And then I got a text from a Kansas number. Hey, Dad, it's Allie. I was like, this is Allie? She goes, yeah. I'm like, can I get a selfie? Because I want to make sure. So sent me a selfie, and I saw my wife in the background, and I was like, oh, hey, kiddo, like, how are you doing, Oh, doing okay. And I was, she said, like, I really wanted to reach out to you like 8 or 9 months back, but I was terrified. I said, well, I wanted to reach out to you as well, but I was terrified as well. They did leave things on good terms, and I figure, like, the emotions were running high. I didn't want to make it worse, so. But she's like, yeah, looking back, it's like I realize, should have handled things differently, and, I shouldn't have left the way I did, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well. So, and the time when we weren't talking, I remember thinking that, like, I didn't expect to ever hear from her again. I'd figured I was basically going to be, like, pissing her for a while, for life. Like, yeah, she can go fuck herself. She's not going to be in the will, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, then we get that call and find out that, and it's funny when you tell yourself, when it's your kids, like, oh, man, like, they can go find things on their own, blah, blah, blah. But then when they need your help, and then we literally, she got that call, and she came up here, and then my wife then called me that night to kind of let me know what was going on. And then we made the plan, because she came back, Like, she flew back that night or the next day, and we booked a hotel like Saturday night. Like, I got off Saturday morning, and I took that night off from work, and literally got off that morning from work. I don't even know. I think I might have taken like a 2-hour nap, possibly. And then we got up and we took off and drove the 500 miles up here to Kansas. Checked into the hotel like 10:30 or like 10 o'clock at night. Messaged Allie and, you know, my mother-in-law and whatever. Hey, we're here. We just, you know, she's like, are you coming over here? And we're like, no, we're gonna. I was like, I've literally only slept 2 hours and I've done 1,100 miles in the past 48 hours, past day and a half, whatever. I was like, we're checking into the hotel. We're gonna go right to bed. We're gonna eat, and go to bed. And they're like, okay, understandable. We're like, we'll be there. We'll check out in the morning. And we'll come over there. So we had like some tarps and stuff to load whatever we could in the bed of the truck. You know, because we were getting some of our stuff, then we were gonna come back and get more stuff. But so, you know, when it came down to it, even though I thought I would not forgive her for it, all of a sudden when you get that call and you're like, okay, I'm on my way. You know, so it's like always, you know, there's little, no matter what happens in life, I anticipate that, yeah, I might be upset with her about how she might have gone about things. But then if she needs us, all she has to do is, hey, Dad, Mom, I need help. Like, I'm in this situation. And we told her when she left to go to Georgia, I was like, me and my wife were both like, now you're a little further away than what Nashville was from here. It's 900 from here to Georgia versus like 500 from Nashville to here. We're like, but if you need us, let us know. But just know that it might take us a minute. Like, we're gonna have to try to figure out what we're gonna do to try to take care of the situation, like come down there to get you or whatever. But she's in a good relationship with her guy, so I don't anticipate they're gonna, you know, because basically like the biggest hurdle for them, since they've never lived together, will be just figuring out how to work together as a team and be partners. You know, so as long as they can do that and stuff, you know. And I always told her too, that, like, from experiences with my wife, you know, her mom here, over the last 20 years, I'm like, a relationship only fails if you guys let it fail. Like there's been times where both me and my wife, neither of us wanted to be the ones to walk away, and we tried to push the other one to walk away. But I was like, I mean, you're welcome to leave. No, you leave. I'm not leaving. I'm like, I'm not leaving. I was like, you know, like, I'm not gonna be the one that walked away and we got a divorce because I walked away. I was like, if we get a divorce, I want it to be because you left, because it's gonna be on you. She said, well, fuck that. I'm not doing that. Okay, well then, what do we do? Like, well, I guess we work it out. I'm like, okay. So, and we talk it through. We figure out what we're gonna do about it to fix it or whatever. So as long as her and her guy, you know, will talk and compromise and figure out how to make both sides happy, as well as making sure that Alex is taken care of, then they'll be okay. So it's like, we were like, if you need help from us, it might take us a minute, but obviously we'll always do what we can. And of course, Alex, when we told him that he was moving straight down there from his dad's house, I'm not coming home. We're like, baby boy, you always have a home here. Like, you know, you can always come back. You know, Mama's getting a place with Mr. Logan, and you're gonna have your own room. Still, again, he has his own room here too, but or had since they're moved. His room is now upstairs office, but so they just have to, you know. We're like, yeah, we'll do what we can, but you just have to remember that it's gonna take us a minute to figure it out, because we can't just up and drive down there like really easily. It's gonna take a minute. Like, I could do the whole drive all at once. I'll be tired as fuck, and I'd probably want to leave at like fucking dark 30, like 3 or 4 in the morning, because I did that once when we drove to like, I think it was me, both my daughters, and my grandson. We went out to Oklahoma to see my parents, and it's an 800-mile trip, and we left at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and we pulled into my parents' house like 6:30 at night. It's like 13 hours. And some of that trip, the speed limit is 80, and so I was going 85 on some of that stretches. And my mom was like, "How the hell did you get here in 12 and a half hours?" I was like, "I was hauling ass." I was trying to push it as hard as I could because I knew that it was 800 miles, and I knew that I'm driving the whole way because neither of my kids has a license. So she said, I'm impressed. Like it says on Google Maps, it would take like 14 hours, and you made it here in 12 or something, or then it would take 15, and you got here in 12. I'm like, yeah, because I was pushing it. But then as soon as I got there, I'm like, after dinner, I was like, I'm crashing hard. I need to go to sleep. But dozing off on the couch watching TV with him. I was like, I'm so tired. They're like, go to bed. Like, okay, see you in the morning. But so let's see. Don't want to get too far off track, but just things that stick with you that you remember that you can never forget. So I'm pretty sure I'll remember the day that the last day I saw Salix out here before he left to go to Nashville. He'll go from there to Georgia. So I remember that night. And when Allie's boyfriend was up here last Sunday into Monday, and they packed their moving truck up Monday afternoon and took off. Probably not gonna forget that either, So, and some things in life, it's like you wish you could forget, but as far as the topic goes, it's like sometimes the best you could say is meh. I know this week has been a couple days where I've been excessively tired to the point where my mental health is just like crap. So I ended up not talking much because I'm like, I want to make sure that what I say is not going to be like all negative and stuff. So I usually just keep to myself, not say what I'm really thinking because I know it's not the best. So I'll wait until I feel a little bit better, maybe get rested, maybe eat some food, whatever, have some coffee, and then maybe I'm like, "Ooh, I feel better." But yesterday morning when I got back to the hub and I'm making my way out, had to go through security. It was a guard I don't think I recognized, but I was coming out of there a little bit early, a little bit late, I think. But this guy was like, he's doing the wand, like you had to wand your front, and turn around, he wands your back, and as he wanded back, like, so how you doing? You okay? I was like, meh. Is everything good? I'm like, not really. I was like, but I'm here. I was like, I'm managing. He's all right. Well, hope everything gets better for you. I was like, yeah, me too. I was like, I just had some changes at home or whatever. And I'm struggling to deal with it, because part of the family left, and it's tough. Like the house is more empty than it was before, and so it's like it's sad when you have that stuff happens in life. Part of life, your kids, eventually leave home and go do their own thing, and so it's like eventually my youngest will probably be off at college, or eventually she'll get her own place, and so literally me and my wife will be just in a big house by herself, and it'd be like, oh man, it's so quiet around here. So I was kind of explaining to him, I was like, yeah, but things will be okay, I'm sure. He goes, yeah, you got this, alright, thanks. And then I figured I'd stop at Perkins to get an omelet, comfort food. Get an omelet, got bacon, got a cheesecake, and then of course normally I get toast with that, but I was like, because you get an option like toast or pancakes or whatever, and I was like, how many pancakes come with it? She's like, oh, you get like 3. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, sometimes I only eat like 1 or 2 of the pieces of toast, and then the rest get thrown away. I was like, let me go ahead and do pancakes, and I'll just offer those to somebody at home. So I'm sure my wife or my kiddo will probably nab those. She goes, that's what I do. She goes, I just take, I'll take something home or whatever that's part of the meal that I'm not going to eat. That somebody eats it. Yeah, okay, that works. Just offer it to somebody in the house, or walk a bit, or offer it to a neighbor. I'm like, okay, cool. Just passes rest area and started down this downhill stretch that usually I have to very quickly, when I'm with a container trailer, I very quickly have to use the engine brake because you're heavy as shit. And so, like, I barely crest the hill and I'll have to put the engine brake on because it'll be like, I'll go from 65, 68, 72, okay, here we go, you know, because the engine brake on to slow down. But coming back to Lenexa right now, I've got a loaded pup. So, there's some weight in there, but I'm pretty light because I don't have a full trailer or a full size trailer, and it's probably not loaded pretty heavy. So I started to go down the hill, and I got halfway down before the speed started to get to the point where I was like, all right, let me go ahead and hit the engine brake. So, but I went in there to order my food. It's this one lady that I've ordered from multiple times now. Hell, she was the one that waited on us when my daughter and I dropped her friend Jeans off at the airport that we were coming back home. And I swung in at Perkins. And my kiddo was like, do we have to eat it? I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't want to grab to go. I want to just relax and sit in there, you know. She's, okay, fine. I was like, it'll be fine, bud. So, so I'd had this lady who was our waitress, and I guess the one there the last couple times I've come in there to order food to go. And they know what I get. She's like, so you get the granny omelet? Yes, ma'am. You want hash browns and not whole fries? Like, yes, ma'am. So, okay. And you want pancakes or toast? This time I was like, yeah, I'll be getting pancakes. I'll give it to the fam. And then I was like, oh, hey, can I go ahead? Because I was kind of letting her know some of this. She was like, yeah, you look stressed. Are you okay? And I'm like, man. She goes, what's going on? I'm like, it's just been... I was like, it's just been a rough couple days at work. You know, they keep asking me to do all this extra stuff. I got delayed because Switcher screwed up the other day. So I was like 2 hours late getting to St. Louis. And then they still wanted me to do an extra load the next morning. And I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. I was running late. I got to get back. She goes, yeah, they do that stuff here too for me. I'm like, oh, okay. But same situation, you know. Are you okay? Meh. No, not really. But, you know. Got home, and even though I was like tired of shit, wanted to go take a shower, but I ate my food, or tired of shit, wanted to go to bed. I'm trying to think of what I thought I said that tired of shit, wanted to take a shower, but like no, wanted to go to bed, but I needed to take a shower, so ate my food, and I went in there and went ahead and grabbed a quick shower really quick, and then took my meds and crawled into bed or whatever. And you get out of bed and you're like, okay, I actually feel somewhat human because I actually got some sleep, but, you know, then you get to, like, wee hours in the morning, like 1 or 2 in the morning, and it's like, okay, I'm tired. But, anyway, y'all, sorry for, like, there's a lot of rambles in there, a lot of random stuff, but hey, you know, it's all tied in together, it's all good. But, in closing, you can find me on socials. The Blodgett Show on Instagram at the Blodgett Show Podcast, or not but just at Blodgett Show Podcast. You can find my personal socials for Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at TNTruckerChris. Twitter X at CEAZFreedom. You can find me on YouTube at ChristopherBlodgett. And you can drop us an email at blodgettshowpodcast@gmail.com. Anybody who wants to support the show, there will be a link in the show notes for how you can support it. It's basically I'm sending you guys directly to the link for my Red, because I'm with Red Circle for my hosts. They have a donation link. You know, takes it right to that section of my hosting platform. So that way you guys can just donate $1, donate 10, 100, 50, 100, 1,000, whatever. Everything is appreciated. Everything will go towards to try to upgrade the show because there's things I have planned. It's just a matter of being able to pay for it and stuff, especially because I have a lot of stuff I'm handling on a personal side. So like this week, for instance, $2,800 went to rent utilities or rent and utilities, and then $840 went to my truck payment for my Silverado, which I might refinance. Possibly, I'm looking into that, but you know, But so we're talking like $2,000 or $3,600 that went out in 1 week, and I was like, this is why I haven't been able to really do anything extra, because I have too much shit. I'm digging out a hole on stuff, but I know eventually things will get better, things get easier. So anybody who wants to support, go for it. They go look at the show notes, click that link for the red circle support link, whatever, and please do donate. Maybe one day maybe at some point I'll go ahead and set a Patreon up and stuff. But I'm working on stuff, got a lot of things planned, and of course the Blodgett Show short Storytime Friday segment, it will come back. It's just a matter of again making plans. It's like some of the with my kiddo and my grandkiddo gone, we're changing up those rooms. So the upstairs and downstairs office now, both gonna have a computer desk in there. That way I can, if I'm home on my day off and my wife happens to be working, I'll take advantage of that downtime. Basically, I'm gonna go in there and get some work done, get some writing, whatever, get some stories written, and maybe record episodes, whatever. But you know how it is, always moving forward. We only fail if we quit giving to walk away. So as long as we keep moving forward, and you haven't failed. As long as you keep trying, rather, you haven't failed. But and also if you struggle like I do, mental health wise, because you're overwhelmed, schedule keeps you running ragged, you got stuff going on in life that has you depressed, whatever, just keep trying, keep getting back up. Cry if you have to, scream if you have to, pray if you're willing to. I know not everybody has the same beliefs, whatever. Some people are like, I don't believe in God. Okay, well, he believes in you, so. But never, just don't give up. And always inbox is always open over there at the Blodgett Show podcast at gmail.com or on Instagram or whatever. Feel free to reach out or whatever, and but send prayers your way and good thoughts and whatnot, But on that note, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me this week. Keep being awesome. Keep pushing forward. Keep believing. Do what you gotta do. Never quit. And I will talk to you guys on the next episode. Have a good one.